Okay, we're back. Oh, no, no, don't do that. Go this way.
Oh my gosh, you fly. Great,
Oh my god, I have exactly enough to get this.
Oh, look, quite nice. Paratito, tata. Paratito, Malo, me the ocean face.
Pressure is all mine, Dad, you guys. Damn it. There.
Ligriata ligeratus. Talos de cognitaris.
God damn it. Oh. Hey there, Rift. Okay. We are ready. I think. The time has come to deliver one of your exiles to a homecoming in the Commonwealth, lest your adversaries, the accusers, achieve the same. The lone minstrel has returned and approaches as you await the signal from the stars. There is something I wish to ask you, reader. Something which, ordinarily, would not be my place to discuss in any detail. You have observed the stars. If you would not mind my asking you in such a direct manner, how many liberation rights are supposing remain? You tell him the only logical deduction which you have been able to make based on all of your readings of the stars of late. There shall be one final liberation rite after tonight. I concur with this evaluation. With your evaluation, reader, sir. I wish to make certain that you are aware, so that you and the Nightwings might yet make the most of your remaining time together thus. As to what shall happen once the final liberation rite is ended, we shall both find out. But lo, it seems that we are called upon once more. Look forth.
Reader, I would ask that you think back for just a moment, if you please. When you first looked upon the Book of Rites, think back upon the words that it revealed. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Would that the scribes were here among us still. I would not sing your praises to them, rest assured. I trust that you shall savor this occasion. You shan't have to oblige me for much longer.
Volunta lorigas.
The pyres burn and all that.
Regita noxalas.
Poised as ever, Lendl steps forward and reaches for his mask. I was branded Lendl the Liar. Once I reclaim my liberty, that name shall be forgotten, and my rightful station in the Commonwealth shall be restored. Nightwings, you may have prevailed against me when we last met here upon this sacred site, but many years since then have taught me much. I shall not fail again.
Consiltaran.
And yet you still hold much resentment for your adversaries. Is that not so, Lendl? Resentment is too kind of a word. They are cheaters, one and all, unfairly favored by those scribes. Well, those such as myself must struggle endlessly for such a chance. Come now, my accusers, let us vanquish these undeserving oaths and prove to the scribes that they were fools to favor the likes of them. He dons his mask once more. I am ready.
Noxalas.
Oh god, he's got 2 demons with him. Wish you the wisdom of the scribes,
Ulta covarantas.
and I wish you would come prepare a song with me, Tarek.
Whom shall you attempt to send home this time?
Confirm what they have. An ash of coal. A living God Almighty.
Sir Gilman.
This night, at last, has this knight at last regained his honor? Let us now find out.
Who shall lend him support?
Think carefully. I need that from you.
Volfred.
Let us prevail on this night for you, Sir Gilman, and for our and for the good of our alien nation. In theory, I should put this on her, but I need absolute certainty.
Bertrude.
Then we shall do what we can, what is within our power for that one.
Very well.
Come then, Nightwings. Look upon me one last time before I draw. For by dawn I shall be free, and you all wallow in terrible defeat that we have in store for you. Yeah.
Commence!
I'm coming for you. Boop! Wrecked. I am a snake. Now, accusers, grant me your auras and your anger, and we may finally secure our rightful victory against these demons we face. He's channeling the auras of his triumphant, and the strength combined with his. This must be the Aura Gang. Hex of Victory. The AI just seems to shit itself. Nope. How are you gonna get it? Come on. The AI doesn't know what to do. Damn it, pressed the wrong button. Get wrecked.
And there it is, at last.
Perfect. Flawless victory.
The blasted Nightwings proved their worth. Their adversaries
I didn't need to be
they
defensive,
defeated
apparently.
utterly. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus the scribes have chosen the exile appointed by the Nightwings shall be free. Absolved of all misdeeds,
Of which he had
return
none.
to glory in the Commonwealth. His adversary and all others shall remain to carry out their rightful sentences.
Blast you, Nightwings. Again, you cheated me. Have you no pride in this tradition? Did he just go, whoa? So Gilman stares at nothing in particular. You sense he is still taking in what transpired and what it means for him. So then, this night he is to be free? He is to be free? Nay. That would mean... Why, that would mean his honor is restored. One cannot go back unto the Commonwealth by any other means. This next exile was self-wrought. His disgrace profound. That he was to be atoned under the eye of the Underking, and those of all his noble comrades. He's grown very emotional. He's always emotional. Fuck me. This knight loves you all. He loves you all, and that you would strive for him, and let him join your noble quest. This knight does not feel as though he is deserving of this outcome, yet the result appears inarguable. Even now, this knight is drawn into the Shimmer Pool. Our time grows brief. Therefore, know this, beloved friends. This knight shall ever strive on your behalf there in the Commonwealth. Though his honor may have been restored, his true journey only now begins. And so, good friends of the Nightwings, this knight now bids you farewell. However, the bonds we form together shan't be broken by mere distance. No! Strive on, good friends, strive on. You can still hear Shook Gilman as he vanishes in the Shimmer Pool. I think the entire world can hear him as he disappears into the Shimmer Pool. If this lonely knight could have achieved such glory, surely can you all. Now, farewell, farewell.
Godspeed, Sir Gilman. cycle of the rites is nearly at an end.
It's neat how his dash makes him actually fly, especially when it's no... Yeah, basically he flings his whole body. Yes, I know, thank you, just... Also when he he looks like a sperm, just period. Oh, who is messaging me now? Damn. Oh, that's opened up. You prevailed in the liberation against the accusers. Already does the Black Wagon feel quieter than usual without Sir Gilman, who returned to the Commonwealth. You overhear some of your companions reflecting on this. It never grows easier having to say farewell to one of our own. We shall make do without him here. You wonder who, if anyone, among you shall go next. The last light of the stars shall shine for us above. At this point, what is become of our plan? What is become of our plan need be subject of our speculation. I trust that we will learn the outcome soon enough. Our actions to this point shall pave the way, perhaps our faith as well. So let us now focus on this. We shall stand upon the brink of the last turn of the cycle of rites. Soon, you'll have a final chance to get one of you home. Now, Peter, up for the stargazing. Let's see where in the downside we shall be returning to for these final rites. We turn back towards the darkness and look upon the last few stars too stubborn to relinquish their light. Also, the world keeps getting redder and redder. Think carefully, Giga. Oh, we'll be fighting the dissidents again, so none of this really matters unless we intentionally lose to one of these guys. I wonder what the stars changing means. We have to fight a Titan as a final boss, Orlac? Who fucking knows? Once more, you are face the Tempers, then... Although I wonder... He hesitates before saying anything further. He cannot sense his thoughts. I apologize. I was lost in thought there for a moment. Let us make way to the Panther Bomb, where everyone is feeling more refreshed as much as possible. I imagine if I do this, this thing dies, so... Sort of... Gilman did not want it anymore. Interesting. Climb in a battle side. Confirm with Wolfred. Also, do we get nothing from... Following the successful outcome of the liberation rite, you find Gertrude muttering something to herself. You hear something of the words as you approach. Should thou seekest darkness, then may nightfall come to thee in time. Shouldst thou seek courage, may then bravery soon bloom within thy heart. Should thou seek water, then may the ocean open wide for thee. If thou seekest fortune, then you recognize the bog benediction, though you've never heard it said aloud. An old blessing of goodwill from the southern bog, never uttered there in modern times. The bog dwellers bade their more adventurous brethren to go forth and seek the other peoples of the land. Then Gertrude sees you there and cuts short the chant. Care thee to explain thy presence reading one. We were amidst an invocation, which must now begin anew. 'Tis was for the Worm Knight, if thou needest know, to speed him on his homeward journey. The Worm Knights are of distant kin, unlike their ilk, as have but passing interest in the sea. There, within the depths, we have long seen which is to be seen. Nevertheless, the distant kin is kin. That foolish Worm Knight. Surely he could never have survived his years if not for divine aid. Thus we provide him more. And then perhaps the Worm Knight, easily underestimated as he is, perhaps he shall turn out to be some benefit as part of Sandalwood's designs. She glares at you intently for a moment. Mistake not these actions for affection, nor for a longing for the loudness of this place to escalate ever again to the volume such as his incessant shouting could achieve. Now leave us, reading one. The invocation must be finished ere the Worm Knight finally arrive upon the shores beyond this land, before his homecoming. She turns away from you and then begins to chant again. Shouldst thou seek shelter, then may the elements be merciful to thee. Shouldst thou seek kinship, then may thy kin hold memory of thee. Should thou seek darkness. You leave her to the benediction. The Worm Knight's absence is already felt. You know, however, he will strive with all his might on your behalf there, on the other side. On Legacy. Reader, though you shall always bear a burden, it is much lighter than the burden of a lonesome exile. Go forth and be free, and become free. Then join with the others such as you, and lead without mercy, continuing to demonstrate your worth and knowing that the Emperor's fall formed the foundation of our Commonwealth. You shall cease to be a reader and become a voice. Interesting. Very confusing. You shall cease to be a reader and become a voice. A voice both to the free and to your successors here. You shall take up the book when you no longer need it. The cycle of the rights see to it that you and others like you shall be liberated ere the coming of another age. May the stars shine ever brightly on us all. Well, okay then. Why is everything so red? I'm not going to liberate the Naga or the Treant. I'm going to try and liberate the Harp. It is daybreak. You are to set forth now to the cairn of Habub. For what appears to be the final time. Thereafter you shall return here, for one exile's chance at liberty. Why is everything so red? Still won't let me go back to... Do I need Stardust at the moment? It would probably be wise to pick up more Stardust. Ah, there you are, Rita. Shall we get going, then? You accompanied the lone minstrel on an excursion through the barren wastes of Licksand, where it seems the stars themselves recently shed some of their splendor. Collecting stardust. It is a laborious and delicate process, though some find it rather meditative. In time you have gathered a good supply of this stuff, and returned together to rejoin the others. Holy mother of butts! Holy shit! I think that's worth it. Alright, let's upgrade some shit. Want to upgrade. Fracturing your sorceries. No telling. Reading the book. Prancing about. Because let's be honest, she's very silly. Maybe. Yeah, it really does look like embers. It makes me worry that this entire place is just gonna be flooded with lava or some nonsense. But now we're just like going through hard. I guess there's so little story left that. Hey guys! Gotta say the
Say, Poppy!
talks like this a lot. Know what I mean? Ooh. Yeah, this I can't really.
Maligaitais. Eh? Oluguaitais. Compose your poem, mais.
Yeah, there's no reason for me to... I'm going to hang on to this. Okay, so 0.3 for every one. Yeah, 0.3 for every one. This should really help us. All right. Ha ha ha, he he he, sigh, white. Oh, well. After making all the necessary preparations amid the desperate sprawl of the cairn, you and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It is quieter, even quieter than usual with the onset of such events. The lone minstrel appears bearing some sort of news. I have checked, and it appears as though the temper has not yet arrived, reader sir. There is no sign of Ignaris, or anyone. The sigil is not set either. We're about to get attacked by what's-his-face. If what he says is true, your adversaries are not present, and you presume the rites cannot commence. However, the stars themselves soon indicate you are mistaken. I know. I'm going to end up having to use her this battle.
Reader, the Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame. Much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you.
That's what those...
Because of your outlandish plan.
That's what that ash
Not that
is.
you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed. Though by all means, keep trying. As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
I wonder if the reason the stars can't be seen, if they're fading out. I wonder if they're not fading out. I wonder if they're being blocked out by the ash. The rite is sent to commence, but your adversaries, they have failed to show. By the scribes. They must have lost all hope. Indeed, as the rites are drawing to a close, some of the triumvirats whom you have met, perhaps that you're beginning to decide the stars are not worth heeding any longer. And he already was very much shaken. Ignaris, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. He did seem rather disaffected, having failed the liberation rite before. Perhaps he did finally decide to quit for good. In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, so I ask that we end it.
Who shall it be this time? Kanatha. Volfred.
And
Bertrude. It is done.
we take no pleasure stuffing out a flame disowned.
Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you. And it is done. The Nightwings prevail by default.
Flame quencher.
Not that their adversaries even care.
That was easy. Didn't see why the rest of you're so dour.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
I mean, we won, but
May misfortune find you ere the turning of the stars.
a moment. No one speaks further of the Templars back in the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the rite that is to come. Thus does the final chance at liberty present itself at last, then. Afraid so. Our plan is an imperfect one, yet here we are, faced with this vital opportunity. He looks over to you. Reader, my boy, please go see for yourself. I think we all know where we're headed next, and I suspect that I know who we shall face when we arrive. The others turn to you as well. You turn towards the wagon's door. You know what you shall see out there. Now, however, time has come to face it. The dim and fading light of the final star still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you toward the end point of your path. Whoa, all of the stars are gone, except this one. You are summoned to the Fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. You sense that if the rites shall ever commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime, or that of any of your companions, even the longest-lived ones. The stars reveal to you one more thing. The adversary whom you shall face will be warlike. Already he has crossed Scribe Grade, waiting your arrival. If the 8 scribes created the Night Winds in their own likeness, perhaps it is only fitting the Night Winds should, in the end, be forced to face themselves. Or like this this damnable cycle. It must pit us against him that it must pit us against him in this, our final chance. Let us retire for the night. We shall not have many chances more for rest before our journey is ended. The group disperses as exhaustion sets in. At dawn you fly. At dawn you get a new tongue and you learn how to speak. You fly to Mount Alodile to make the final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? Someone keeps messaging me. God damn it.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
Oh well. By dawn, you're already up and about after a troubled slumber. The Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Solium. No one speaks. As you lift into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain old ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may benefit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I played the song for the Night Winds? You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballads, so that all among you may hear it. He begins without another word.
When the stars align, the rights shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be there. All are not the same, but three shall be as one. Freedom in flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make a great. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be made.
You touch down amid the ancient formations of Mount Alodile to make pilgrimage to the summit one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentence here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are a part of shall either come to fruition or be suppressed. After having landed, you join Pamathon expedition to the monument of Joma Menimane, for is likely to be the final time. Well, Pamathon, here you are again. Enjoy while you can, I guess. Because it sounds like this is your last chance and everyone's. would you even do if Reader Darling would decide to pick you? Have you even decided yet? Or do you need more time? You'll always be an outcast, Pamatha. There's nothing waiting for you where you're from. And your sister hates you. And you want to go back anyway. Maybe because they thought they'd seen the last of you. Just imagine the look on their faces. Soon she finishes. You return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Jomer Medimane has shown you favor. At dawn, you should begin your last ascent. For now, your vocations. Why, certainly, Reader Darling. How good of you to ask. You and Pamatha go over her understanding of her aura, his connection to her presence, both physical and spiritual. Discussion proves informative. But not informative enough. We all have auras all the time, I think. We just can't see them. Deep in the narrow passageways of Mount Elodile, you find a messenger imp looking to bring you the latest news and rumors from the other side. This time it brings tidings of Sir Gilman and what happened to him since his liberation at the fall of Solia, when at last his self-imposed exile came to an end. You learn that his return to the Commonwealth was met with much rejoicing, and that before long he was promoted to the rank of veiled captain on the Blood Border. Yet, with tears welling in his eye, he did refuse the post, stating he no longer had the heart to fight against the High-Wing remnants as he once did. He then cast down his helmet, and when next anyone saw him, he was among Volfred's agents, having joined the revolution to reshape the Commonwealth from within. We thanked the messenger M for the report and saluted crisply, as surely Sir Gilman would have. Soon, the news has everyone in the wagon talking. Do you think one day I can be as brave as him? Because I don't always think I can. The tears he shed ought to be bottled, thus set aside to use in various sounds. One of the Sea Dominion's own, laying down his arms by his own choice. I'm honestly surprised, even having known him. Noble Gilman made a gallant choice, it seems. Our plan comes closer to fruition through his good example and support. The news of Gilman's liberation fills you and your exiles with newfound resolve. Before you stand before Scribegate with your companions, the Gate Guardian is there as ever, but you sense something different in her.
Escutil Noxalas.
Exiles of the Nightwind, we shall not meet again after the coming right.
Simnaderus.
Tark and I, it shall be time we take our rest, I think.
Salutiam, Ceres.
Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I'm uncertain anyone amongst us feels thus.
Onvisacare.
We have a duty to uphold, Tark.
Taruntadage.
And then what, Celeste?
Petara Nilum.
And then nothing. Not for the rights, not for us. Not till the dawn of a new age.
Fransage Lostium.
Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what it is you seek while crossing Scribegate. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with assuredness in their step. If I may, my name is Volfred Sandalwood. I long I long as yet to see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. Oh my name is Bay, and I'm here because the scribes, this is the path that they've shown me, and all of us. I like it when they call to me. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. I am Pamitha Thane here. I came seeking my blood sister Tamitha's forgiveness, and since she ended up here because of me, maybe something good can come of it as of yet. Finally, you step forth once more. You, a crippled scholar who vowed to help his friends be free again, who managed to come this far with this group. The gate guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway towards the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Night Wings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except you, Tarek. You stay right there. I thought you said... The rites are not yet ended, Tarek. He looks to her. And then over the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The Gate Guardian and Lone Minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. Yeah, well... You've gained the summit of Mount Allodile for the 7th time, the final time in which any one of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. Oh. Alright, I'm going for longer than an hour. Because you know what? I feel like it. Deal with it. And honestly, it wouldn't have been an issue had I not failed getting Ruki out the first time I tried to liberate him. I was an idiot to have put everything on. Hey guys, I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know. The stars all fading out and stuff. Anyway, just wanted to say, you guys are great. I'm sure gonna miss having you guys customers and all that. But I got some good news though too. All my stuff, it's on sale now. I'll throw a little extra in there just for you. So enjoy. Our 5% off. Wonderful. One moment, I forgot to pick up. Forgot to pick up. They're back already.
Right, Ice.
Everything's 5% off. Oh my god! The thing is, I don't need to upgrade anything, do I? Yeah, there's nothing I can afford. I suppose I could throw this into the
Ce tower folly shay.
Thank you for visiting me on such short notice, Reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. So let me be blunt. Please listen for a moment then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end. All of it. I sense the binds that form the rites becoming weak. Which means soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still, my services will not be of any further use. I would love to tell you that this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some of my beyonders, it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those that bound me. They shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. She hesitates for a moment. Thus I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it shall be. By that I mean, take this stone prison of mine. Keep it. Do not just leave it, as all your predecessors have, each time they stay among the Night Winds. Their stay among the Night Winds reached an end. Soon the Beyonder Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice. But I prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, Reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company than an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain years and eventually decay, whilst I remain unchanged. But I rather have more years whilst having contact. Even if those years are to be brief, they shall afford me many more. They will afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit, for your sake. May all this right business enrich your coming days somehow. And in considering that life after this night, if you think there may be a place in it for me, however small, then once again I simply ask you to take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again sometime, you could. And I would like to have that as an option more than not. My request here is a selfish one, for there's little I can offer in exchange other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep once in a while. Who knows? You could always try and sell the Beyonder Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then, you've heard my sad little proposition. What do you say? Why not? Sandra's proved to be a kindred spirit. We'd rather not part ways with her. The Beyonder Crystal is not your property, nor is Sandra's pendant your responsibility. Scribes be damned. I know what she did. An eternity alive with nothing is even worse than death. You grasp the Beyonder Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound, as though surprised. Thank you, Reader. She is at a loss for a moment, then. Let us go, then, from this place. Let us go and face your last remaining adversaries. May you crush them under heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. She disappears into the stone for now. I need to play defensively. I need to not mess up. You've gained the summit of Mount Alodial for the 7th time. What were the developers thinking? Stand by the mic and make random yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes it's just go into a booth and make whatever random noises you feel like making. Very few stars remain above. Hang on. I'm going to go to the bathroom so that I don't have to when we're in the middle of nonsense. Okay, I'm back. You have gained the summit of Mount Alodial for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rite. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there, perhaps, some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far.
Negaratus.
Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go.
Yara amitage.
I wish to say that I'm grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well, this night and always. Go forth with glory. Then he looks up and extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You see Pamatha has joined you. All of your companions are there with her, in fact. I can imagine the voice. There are no bathroom breaks during the rite. Show some respect. Well, reader darling, what do you say we give those old scribes a real show to remember them, shall we? Reading 1. Thou art both wiser and less irritable than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. Oh, hi, mister. The others said that they wanted me to join them and come talk to you, so here I am. Scribes are watching us. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now. Let us achieve our plan. You look upon your fellow exiles, your companions, with whom you have withstood the downside, with whom you shall now conduct the final rite.
Seramiscus.
Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs. After this night, the outcome of Volfred's plan of which you have all been part, shall be decided, one way or the other. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversary, so the last companion may go free. You rise again to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining star ignites. I wonder whether Bay is actually able to hear this. Well, if we had triggered her backstory,
For one last
we might have
time, upon
found
the fall
out,
of
but
Solium, dear reader,
I seem to have missed that.
hear
apparently.
me for one last time. For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be.
For reading
The
books.
rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated all shall fall in line. But first,
All the
let us get
colors.
on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves. Each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
Voluta lorigas.
The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as per custom, not another word. The demon Orlek slowly rises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom once was stolen from me. Then I was cheated of it, and here, upon this mountain top, you may now attempt to take it from me once more. He stands there for a moment, silent, and then Orlek dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damned rites cease forever, for the misery they caused. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after this, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus, I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one whom you anoint, or else the exile Orlek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have the utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct the rites with glory. Nightwings, the stars' remaining light grow dim. Your decision, please. It is time now to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside to the end of your days. One by one, you meet the gaze of each of your fellow exiles. Bay, Wolfred, Bertrude, Pamitha, your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now, the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Are you ready? The fate of your friends in the Commonwealth may hinge on your decision about to make. It seems both cruel and unfair to have to make such a decision. But with a glance you reassure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you. Pamitha,
I tell you that you're making a terrible mistake there, Reader Darling. But I think you haven't made as many as I have. So I'll try not to mess this mess this up for either one of us. Your choice is cast. As for your companions, you sense a clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Pamitha, as well as you.
Who shall stand with her? Volfred.
Venere trage.
Assuredly, my boy. Besides, we stand against Orlak. It is fitting that I should have to confront him myself. An ashen coal? $38 or... No, I have her. I can sustain with this.
Bertrude.
Thy will is ours, reading one. Let the remaining stars shed their last light upon our ceremony here.
If that is all, then.
Those are to be my adversaries, then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts his will over that group? You sense Orlok searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false night wings. You are nothing to me. You would relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them? Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you. Then, Orlok stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. By the light of dawn, the cycle of the right shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tarek, I'm prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let us make sure of it.
Begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
I will not tolerate that. Piss. I will not tolerate them. You wear the ravens once again. You could not simply stand by and do nothing, Orlok. Yet, that is what you did. Last when we stood this blasted mountain, I fell. You simply stood there. Orlok, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal? Orlok seems to consider the question, but only for a moment. Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail, here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan? To bring us a better commonwealth? No. I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then I'm sorry, Orlok. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned, Volfred. Let us stand as adversaries then. Whoa, 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 whoa. Pamela, take it. The sky rains ash. Soon your pyres shall mingle with them. Just then, the skies above begin to rain fire down. The final throes of the cycle of the rites, the ending of the age.
Oh, you poor Nightwings.
What?
How he has changed, that Urlek. Grown old and bitter lo these many years. Oof. That's it.
Piss! Bollocks!
Urlek was struck.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Pathetic.
I did everything wrong there.
A rather cunning trick. A show of strength from the Nightwing's opponents. Sinners! Oh. Oh.
Piss.
Martha, be gone.
No. No, I'm not letting you stop me.
Sword right in. Let's see you Nightwings keep this up. Urlek has plunged into his adversary's flames.
Okay, that just means that I don't have to deal with him this time.
Too close to call who shall prevail as yet. The orb engulfed in fire.
Keep it up, guys. So the false Nightwings bare their fangs at last. But that cannot be your finest effort. You think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you.
Tis taken. One triumvirate stands unopposed.
Piss! Go, 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 go! Do it! Orlok stands breathing heavily. He looks back on the thin lick of flame that is his smoldering pyre before turning his attention back to your triumvirate. God, well, I just lost that one. Ooh. All of you shall rot here, shall rot as I have for all these many years. You false nightwings who would deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny the liberty of all the triumvirate you face, and vanquished under the guise of tradition to those blessed scribes. Let us continue with this glorious affair. Will not tolerate this. Oh God Almighty! It is done.
The Nightwings proved their worth.
Favored to prevail,
As for their adversaries,
beating everyone.
they did not. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Not bad there, reader darling. Just another night in the downside, no? You look upon Pamatha, for what you expect shall be the last time you see each other. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf her. Any moment now, she will return to glory and join Volfred's agents and the Commonwealth to achieve the plan. Any moment now, the cycle of the rites shall end. Upon the last dawn, until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now. One moment. Okay. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Hello? Stars?
Thus, the scribes have chosen.
I love that. What?
No,
No.
Nightwings. Reader, what have you done?
Hmm? Damn. Did we already miss our chance? Each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened, following the liberation rite, and taken whichever exile prevailed. But now, all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlek approaches, his head bowed. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery for last. Then something catches his notice. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again. Different, somehow, but open. Oh God, it's red. I don't like that it's red. Pamatha looks upon it, but it does not engulf her. At least, not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes, this is not their greatest treachery. It is their greatest chest. The Shimmer Pool is flung open wide. It seems all are worthy now of freedom. Orlek strides towards the Shimmer Pool by the halt, Orlek. Orlek glances over at the lone minstrel, almost in surprise. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside, and you shall shortly drown. Of that, I can assure you. He laughs at this. Then we have all been cheated. No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed, and one of you may still return as planned. But as for who returns, someone shall have to choose, ere the last light of the stars is extinguished and the rites to be ceased. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes. Then our confrontation, liberation rite, was all meaningless. No. The victor of the confrontation rite is to be the one to make the choice amongst the closest to the scribes, either the anointed or he who anointed them. Then it sounds rather like I can get out of here, though maybe you can, Reader Darling. Aye. It shall be either you or the reader. Or it shall be either or. Pamatha, please make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. Quite the dilemma, but I think I know which way I'm leaning here. Reader darling, do me a favor now. Go, get out there, before I start having second thoughts. Pamatha wishes to give up her freedom so that you may regain yours. Very well. Reader, the choice which Pamatha made, or rather the choice which she gave, is now yours to make instead. This choice, may it keep bouncing back and forth like this? It's absurd. It may, until such time one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the trial, and I fear there is little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companion are too cordial with each other to accept freedom, either one of you, I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought to be more than a flirtatious trifle to exchange. Reader, what is your will? Your mind is made up. You have chosen to be free yourself. I see and understand. Then it is done. Pamatha looks to you, this one last time, her heart filled with unspoken understanding. You then turn to the lone minstrel for an instant, but another instant later, he is gone, and everyone. You feel the coldness of the rush of water coursing around you. I hope I made the right choice. I suppose I'm carrying 2 sets of freedom now. Or maybe 3. Mine, Sandra's, and hopefully theirs.
Godspeed, reader. By the scribes.
I'm a book. I'm a star.
No stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
No, it wasn't. Freedom for one is not freedom for all. Oh god, here we go, here we go. I'm a star, baby. That night, an exiled reader returned to the Commonwealth. It was to be the last. The stars faded, and the cycle of the rites had run its course. he found the Commonwealth in a state of unrest. Spurred by the efforts of the 5 liberated exiles, Wolfrid Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky portend the return of the scribes. Wait, 5? Plus. Well, I suppose, yeah, I do count as 6, but the rulers of the Commonwealth pushed back. Fighting broke out in the streets in spite of Sandalwood's intentions. It was then that the Winged High Remnants chose to strike. Allegations that the High Winged Remnants were in league with Sandalwood were never proven. However, there was no denying the result of the two-pronged attack. After an enduring almost a millennium, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Shiren Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today, we still remember all of this. And we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Oh, thank you. Thank you, game, for making that abundantly apparent. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth, and was vital to the outcome of the plan. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold where Archjustice Ardrobels was holed up when the fighting grew fierce. With him, then and thereafter, was one of the winged harps from the High Winged Remnant, later identified as Fenkai Shang. Is that how I'm supposed to pronounce that? Fenkai Shang. Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as leader of the Shiren, our nation formed in 839 AS after the fall of the Commonwealth. One day we all may stand shoulder to shoulder with a common cause, Wolfrid Sandalwood. Hedwyn often confided in his friend Jodariel. Despite his intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumcision was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he pledged to Jodariel, Rookie Greentail, and the Reader. Now you're afraid. Once merely status as a deviant, now a revered title in the Union. The Reader and the Reader of the Nightwings, that they might all be free again together. His promise came to pass, though he always knew that this was not his own doing. He was always deeply grateful to the other 3, his closest friends. While the others stood with the Nightwings, the others who stood with the Nightwings were not able to remain in contact thus. Hedwyn thought of each of them often, and so, in turn, they oft thought of him.
Consilda Vidias.
Long time no see, Jodariel. After her liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon for the movement that led the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Union. Her military prowess and experience led to key victories in clashes against the Commonwealth loyalists. Each time, she was able to subdue the opposition, avoiding lethal force. In uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play in both the matters of security and of state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding each year. She remained close to Hedwin all through the experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many, many times. She often had to stop him from fearing for Bay, whom she had tried to look after as much as possible in the downside. Soon she would reassure herself that Bay was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact, she was not mistaken. She continued to train on her own, a regime that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and sometimes she obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part.
Consilda Vidias.
After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcoming ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to better judgment as he ended up siding with Volfred Sandalwood's revolutionary force, as he promised. Scribes returned. Inspired by the liberated exiles, the people of the Commonwealth demanded new leadership. Cast yourselves down! Cast yourselves down! A chant from the scribes returned. On the night of the scribes' return, Rookie Greentail kept busy barking orders to Volfred's agent as the situation grew tenser. He took rather well to leadership. When dawn finally came, it became clear that the Commonwealth that everyone had knew would be no more, and he realized many new opportunities awaited. He began a quite lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. This aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such things. The money was too good, and soon his family was as well off as he always said. He also kept close touch with Gilman. Ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, and take care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with a group of friends he came to know as well, during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they may be. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words at sometimes.
Consilda Vidias?
After the liberation rites ended, Bay admitted she knew well before the fact that she would not be going home again. At least, she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding it very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed, just as I thought, and this is why I didn't want to send her through. She took to wandering from one celestial landmark to the next, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes, who she believed influenced Okay. She took to wandering from one celestial landmark to the... She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was always happy to have company. God, who is messaging me? Okay, there we go. Through all of it, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. Well, while they were divided now by a great distance, he always remained in her heart. Though they could not see each other any longer, they often thought about Jo Dariel and spoke to her as though she were there. They tried never to make a decision without first consulting her idea of what Miss Jo Dariel might say. One day, she encountered one of her former adversaries, one called Almer Oldheart, who had served the faith. She remembered him much more than he did her, though only just at first. They shared experiences in the rite, and their different points of view about the scribes formed the basis of what grew to be a long-lasting relationship. Was always devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life in the downside, both with courage and grace. Do you even remember? Yeah, I do remember he had a mustache. And then he asked me, does it make me look silly? And I said, yeah, just a little bit. And he shaved it. The imp called Tizo was the first of his kind to achieve liberty through the rites. Whilst he was not the only imp trained in the ways of the scribes, imps are native to the downside and thus do not care to travel abroad. This made them useful to triumvirates even. Yet Tizo had a different calling, and the Nightwings believed that he too could play a key part in Volfred Sandalwood's plan. During the night of the scribe's return, he stood out to the populace as somewhat of a miracle. They had only heard of the downside imps before from legends of Abu the Swallow. Afterwards, he became somewhat of an icon, representing both the fall of the Commonwealth and the beginning of a new era. Volfred Sandalwood would sometimes send him little gifts, all the way from the downside. Despite the insurmountable distance between them, their friendship proved to be more than resilient. He often chirped about the reader of the Nightwings, with whom he built quite a rapport. The reader understood him perhaps better than anyone, and Tizo often expressed wistful gratitude for all the time conducting the rites alongside the Nightwings, who made such a sacrifice for him. Other than that, Tizo was diligent about his role as something as a living artifact, and helped interpret for the messenger imps that relayed news to and from the downside. Despite having gained significant celebrity, he never let it go to his head. Although he did take full advantage of his access to the Union's fishing industry. Oh god, here we go. When the Rum Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something more important than his freedom, his honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain on the Blood Border, who was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as it is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came need for him to once again make use of his military training. He fought. That night of the scribe's return, he fought with all his might. He faced other worm knights, cared only for the cause. There, the matter was... When the matter was at last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary circumstances, again requiring him to fight. But he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for the counsel of the reader, and would regale him over and over about the time he squashed the spawn of unfathomableness. By that point, he had long forgotten about the days under the leadership, his days under the leadership of Sir Deluse, his former commander. Breaking free from his abusive leadership was his first step towards gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him strive to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, it was an intense daily training regimen, and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that the honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself, ought to be renewed each day. Was her hair always like that? Yeah. After the rites ended, Pamitha Thane parted ways with the other Nightwings, saying that she needed time alone. She reappeared sometime after the fall of the Commonwealth, although she expressed mild surprise at the news. She claimed to have no knowledge of what went on, including what role the High Wing Remnants had in the events that reshaped the world on the other side. For her part, Pamitha feigned little interest, making the point that they were stunned. What happened elsewhere had little to do with them now. Someone with whom she kept in contact was the bog dweller called Big Bertram. They would discuss all sorts of matters long into the night, and sometimes hunt together too. One day, while traveling in Black Basin, Pamitha ran into her blood sister Tamitha for the first time since the conclusion of the rites. Their reunion was not as amicable as Pamitha might have hoped, and Tamitha, still resentful for their history together, turned violent. Pamitha would later brush aside the accident, though always had an injury to show for it. Yet, from that point on, the blood sisters were back on speaking terms, at least for the most part. Where is that injury? I don't see it. Maybe I'm just blind? Having long since felt as though she had no home to call her own, Pamitha continued to travel about the downside. As the tempest swept across the land, changing its future, she found it in its sublime beauty. And in the starless nights, she could still see just fine. She said such travels tended to remind her of when she was young and could fly unfettered. That's the point. Several exiles in the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertram was a prime example. She found a suitable environment to live, with the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she built up a thriving place of business known by many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away, almost as if nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites, or the collapse of the Commonwealth, seem as trifling matters. Much of her efforts was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she admired for decades. He had made clear that he would not require her feelings he had made clear that he could not return her feelings for him. But what could have been harmful, dismal, only led to a deeper hurtful dismissal could only lead to deeper understanding between them. Sorry, I'm having to sit forward because my one good eye is fucking up. Might need to go into the doctor at some point. She maintained an unlikely kinship with the harp, Tamitha Thing, whom she had known during her time together on the Nightwings. They each had different strategies for dealing with life's day-to-day annoyances, a subject that both found vital, if not fascinating, to no end. By and large, Gertrude kept focused on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Gertrude continue to live up her name, and tales of her days within the Nightwings made her that much more of a living legend.
Silta Vidias.
When the cycle of the rites ceased turning, Wolfred Sandalwood turned towards the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do at this stage of the plan. He aspired to assemble with the liberated exiles representing each of the eight largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the eight scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the rites ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit. Yet the plan did have its contingencies. Word reached him that, on the night of the scribe's return, several of his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together, their voices echoed through the streets. It was vital to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature, but this proved to be untenable, especially after the Highwing remnants appeared. There was speculation that their well-timed assault may not have happened by coincidence, though Sandalwood denied any involvement and regretted bloodshed. Nevertheless, the main thrust of the plan had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that, as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Union. Of course, being stranded in the downside meant there was only so much she could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience its triumphs and its struggles in some vicarious way. So he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread again through the Union, so too did the exiles of the downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped to teach as many as he could. More than that, he provided the material to read. A semi-annual report about the latest events both in the Union and the downside. The periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to, and he enjoyed the exchanging letters with the reader of the Nightwings, who kept him well abreast of how their other comrades and the fledgling nation fared. As Wolfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout this land, for all his sacrifices and all his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about two things. First, that it was the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a shed of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He often praised the exiles of the Nightwing who stood with him, each in turn, by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it's said that he was moved to tears by the Death Shore. It is then since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievement of his fellow former exiles and our cause. Oh god, my throat. Oh god, I have so many other people to... I'm sorry, what did you say? With the rights drawn to a close, the slug market's revenue fell precipitous, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. And as sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leading, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave to it one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him, bearing a tiny sum of wealth, newly minted coinage from the Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp, then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron Good to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrude and found a distribution partner on the other side through Ricky Greentown, whose own business had expanded. So basically, the three business people went into business together. We've got Rookie on one side, Big Bertrude here with Falcon Ron, picking shit up and then sending it through a crack somewhere with an imp. Dear God. Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Especially in the Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. Well, fuck you too, buddy. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through the nights after consecutive nights, staring at the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp, but Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted, rather forcefully, that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again and mark the way towards his inevitable freedom. It was, of course, a mistake. The others of his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl Lyra was never seen again. However, there have since been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's crew countenance, suggesting he yet lives. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that the chances of freedom from the downside forever had slipped from Dalbert and Almir Oldheart. Thus, they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Jomer Valley. There, they struggled to get by, as exiles the downside tend to do. Sometime after the rites had ended, the Oldhearts at last heard news from the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that had cast him down along with his son. Old Dalbert passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the scribes, who respected Dalbert's wishes. And so after a period of mourning, Olmir began a new journey. One day, during his travels, he ran almost headlong into another exile after paying homage to the Spring of Jomer. He was stunned to find that this was none other than the one he knew as Bay, from their days as adversaries in the Rites. Bay was overjoyed to see him, though Armor was unable to bring himself to understand why. Eventually, of course, he did, and they remained together, growing ever more accustomed to their new lives in the downside. Excuse me. Not a day went by, Olmir Oldheart did not think about his father, and gave him thanks, to speak to him in the morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert would be there among them, smiling down at his son, watching over him and his kin. Right, dissidents. I'm trying to do everyone in order, and I am saving these three for last. Christ, I'm trying to read your freaking bio, dude. You don't need to scream at me. Barker Ashpaw never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws so stifling. So when the rites ended, he didn't care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it. He decided to continue conducting the rites just for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate. Thus they ran against each other back in Jomer Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started taking interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaw some healthy competition, too. His old feud with Rookie Greentail ceased meaning anything to him. He forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who led such a directionless existence at that point, found something of a calling in the rites. Whether he took the rites less serious than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. And then we went to Flagging Hands. Right, the one that I accidentally let slip by. Picking shit up and sending it through the crack somewhere with an imp. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what they said the imps do. They, like, find a little crack and then, okay, I'm through, okay, let's get this up there. After her liberation, the witch Umilda. I remember it being like Umildlith. Forget it. Fled to her native home in the southern Ba, rejecting all festivities and honors she could have received. She was never seen again during the events that transpired in and around the Commonwealth. Some of those with knowledge of the rites and the legends of the downside suggest she willingly cast herself back into exile to be closer to Yeaslich. Others rumors suggest that her obsession with pyromancy and the dark arts ultimately consumed her. If she lives, for her kind are able to live for many centuries, there is no telling where. Her repeated threats of the return of Yeaslich were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found in any of her claims. Good. All his life, Sir Dalyut had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn Warasine Dominion, he escaped the blood borders of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen, as their last chance to return home to their homes had vanished, along with the stars above. But Deluge didn't mind, for this outcome meant that at last there was no burden or responsibility weighing him down. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre Hearts yet longed for the Warasine Dominion, driven ever by their impulses towards conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, Lady Seagrass. Oh. I think I read her thing, but they didn't really tell much. We were taking a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase of the worm population observed in the vicinity. Yep. Burb. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Thane was motivated by a single goal: to return to the Commonwealth and exact revenge on her ancient enemies. When she realized the rites had ended and that she would never see the mountains of home again, she was nonetheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after their liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defenses, revealing that to the Highwing remnants the opportunity for a risky but potentially impactful strike. Though Tamitha would not participate in the assault, she nonetheless contributed to its success. She later learned her sisters, the Highwing remnants, called out her name in a battle cry as they swooped down upon their enemies. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha encountered her blood sister Pamitha and come to pay her a visit. Pamitha had hoped their people's victory on the other side would cause some reconciliation. Tamitha was skeptical of her intentions, however, and lashed out at her. Pamitha made no intention to elude the attack and was struck full on. This cost Pamitha the use of her right wing. Yet, after she recovered, she shrugged the incident aside and said maybe they could call it even now. From that point on, the Blood Sisters kept a formal distance, but were cordial with each other. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the crags of Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her surmised her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness.
Más spectacular!
Oh god. When Manly Tinderstuff realized the rite had ended, he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through these ancient means. He was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth a slew of blasphemy that as to become very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When he at last calmed himself, he focused all his energy on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an empty graph, a hot air balloon, even rarer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside now, and it was gone. Tinderstuff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of Black Basin, to Cinderroot. There he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity, who still put up with him, either about his misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Yeah, it's basically a happy ending. Oh, damn it! Why you? Once it became clear to Ignaris that the rites were drawing to a close, we knew it was time for him and the Templars to call it quits. But at first, he and the Templars decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. The revelry eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably, went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in this life. Sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he called Curly Horns, and what became of her. Though his glorious days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at the time. Cultivated. After the shimmer pool closed for what would be the last time, Orlek looked around him, and in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre, he turned to the fall of Salim and looked towards the black starless sky. He cursed the scribes, and then, one after the other. After that, he strode forward towards the water coursing from the side of Mount Alodile, and without hesitation cast himself down. Orlek's body was never recovered. The drop from Mount Alodile does not appear to be survivable, even though Orlek did survive it once. This time, however, he was filled with fury. Such was the betrayal he had suffered when his fellow exiles claimed his rightful freedom. This time, Orlek was filled with nothingness, and chose to leave the downside in the only way he knew he could. The other Nightwings, who were witness to this, never forgot what they saw.
Visitiamo templi.
After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the black wagons of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles of the Nightwings who remained on the downside continued to make use of the black wagon as their place of shelter and means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites, the Beyonder Crystal, or anything else, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseen. One possibility is that, when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the black wagon itself should also have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal even existed, or rather, that the visions that were granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bog offered another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object, in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. That would have meant that Sandra and the Beyonders... What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fate of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claim to have seen this apparition all spoke of her with a degree of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Sandra, can you believe this, reader? Honestly, Sandra has appeared before you, as well as you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense. I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She is referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing, when next time they're at it. Though, they shall never know the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. Perhaps something... He suggests to Sandra that the account of what occurred to her was not really that bad, and that you liked the aspects of it. You are too much of a diplomat, you know that? Yeah, sometimes. Just sometimes. You can tell she is unswaying, and yet her grin remains intact. She appreciates the gesture. Anyway, let's keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it. That's what matters. She fades into the Beyonder Crystal for now. and you tuck it away, safe. Good smiles. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining night winds take the black wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their paths parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Allodile with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcomes of the cycle. Neither Tarek nor Celeste were ever seen again. We all know this. We know all of this now through songs attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Union, and merely were imbued with weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims that having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests that these minstrels were heralds of the scribe. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and joined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome. That the two of them gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain subject of such verses and songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. There is one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwains conducted the rite under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of him, other than he is a dragon. However, that he is a dragon and his throat is hurting. However, some accounts of him begin to paint a picture. We know he was of common birth, weak-framed, though raised with a penchant for learning. The journey to the downside left him close to death. It was then that the night winds found him. They brought him from the brink, and they showed him the path. He passed onward with the others. He made a vow to help his friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. That freedom he indeed achieved, ere the morning's light. From that point on, his accounts diverge. It is said the voice, which troubled him, he never heard it again. Some say he helped form the Union, though whether that is true, only he knows. Perhaps someday, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then, it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, we all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When he arrived, the book of rites awakened the night wings and ignited the flame. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the night wings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed, and and strode the path that his heart laid before him.
That is
He
very...
has found his way home.
That is a very good...
Captain Joe Dariel,
Very good water paintings.
mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribes. They follow the stars bound together.
I'm still amazed that they only have 2 people doing the voice acting. Still amazed by that.
The moon-touched girl feels the scribes in the heart of the downside. She remained to the end.
They have such good artistic talent.
Tizo
To find
prevailed,
just the right...
first of his lowly kind to ascend from the downside. He has found a new home. Sir Gilman the Bold, ever in his quest, finding honor and glory, he has found his way home. Amethyst Thane, born on guilty wings, ever seeking forgiveness, she remained till the end. They follow the stars bound together, strands in a braid.
Oh, it seems that they had more people doing the voiceovers, which meant making small noises.
The great mastermind, Wolfrid Sandalwood,
What am I
saw his
looking
plans
at?
turn to action.
Also, we get to see more of her. So I guess those things that were sticking out were
The
props.
bog dweller Gertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end. The reader at last made the night wings whole and ascended to freedom. He has found his way home.
Would like to thank all our families and friends supporting this
The
century.
stars bound together, strands in a braid till the end. They follow the stars bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Now at the end, as we bid farewell and return to the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home.
And so the moon and the sun shall go, singing.
We shall find our way home.
All as it should be. Oh. True Nightwing. Oh, you're gonna do that to me now? You're really gonna do that to me now? God damn it, I'm not even done, am I? I have to look at this before... Oh, it's difficulty. Never mind. For players who finish the campaign, your adversary shall be favored by the stars themselves. All Titan stars unlocked. And some must be used. Oh god. Enlightenment requirement for rank up rescaled. Cannot load checkpoints or restart rights. Book of Rights and White loot. Slug Market Inventory, Feats of Glory. Ooh, this is you gonna get fucked up, Mo, because it says you can't change this once you do it. Fuck, man. I thought it was gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, you can do Orlex thing now. You should go do that one too. It's like, no. I will come back to this. I'm saying this now. I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to do it over again. Not immediately though. I'm just adding to the fucking list of all the games I'm going to come back to. God damn it. But that was 2.5 hours of an ending. That was fucking amazing. This is probably one of the best games that they've done. Like the other ones were I love Bastion and I love Transistor for different reasons. And both of them have replayability. They have good replayability for it. But only to an extent. This, they nailed it. They nailed it. I want to come back and play this over and over and over and over again. Just the same way as I want to go back and continually play the Yogg. Which is probably a little known game. Maybe it's not. I mean, the Yogscast did do it, but the Yogg is like this tiny little game of a game. But it's so worth going back to over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. They really outdid themselves. I still have to complain about Tizo's Feat of Glory, because fuck that. That was not the Feat of Glory, the thing where he gets the item. That was poorly designed. Either way, I will call it for now, and we will do things. You're not adding to the list, you're not. You're just, well, I was planning, here's the thing, I was planning on streaming, what is it, Mass Effect 1, and what was the other one? I know I want to do Mass Effect 2, but there was a couple others that I wanted to go back. Fuck, my memory's failing me. I'll just go through my stuff, but I was going to do Mass Effect, and then I realized, you know what, I haven't done Pyre yet, and I really want to try it, so... Anyway, calling it.